Alrighty, this will be the first of the perspective replays for Disruptor P5 in the Game 1 against Clockwork Orange.
Oh, hell yes.
Alright, so starting items, a salve, a set of tangos, that's okay. I would prefer a second set of tangos. 3 mangoes, that's okay, it's a little on the high side. 2 fairy fires, that's terrible, and the sentry ward is excellent. So 2 fairy fires. If you want 1, that's fine. You think it might save you from a dive for some reason, that's okay. 2 of them doesn't work because it has an internal cooldown where you can't just panic spam the button and pop 2 of them and get twice as much health back. So having the second one means you think you're going to get ganked twice and just barely survive twice. And you're trading, what is that, 150 gold for 4 damage to go from 51 to 54. That's worthless. You're laning against a Centaur. Centaur's going to go first item, either Hood or Vanguard. Probably Vanguard, which makes your right clicks worthless. If it's a Hood, it's a little bit better, but still, Hood has a built-in item that gives it health regen. So that Ring of Health is going to counter your extra little 4 damage. So you basically wasted the extra 75 gold and maybe even the full 150. If you want 1 Fairy Fire for an outplay, that's cool, but don't buy multiple Fairy Fires. That's just not a thing. The 3 mangoes isn't bad because I expect you're just going to be trying to spam the Rubik with Thunderclaps. Not Thunderclaps, Thunder Strikes all lane, and that's good because if you can bully the Rubik out with Thunder Strikes, then the Lifesteer's going to have a much better time. Okay, let's stop there for a sec. So, and this is good for the rest of the season. This ward block is good. Blocking this hard camp in general is excellent. This has kind of become the most common spot for people to go to. And even if you do decide that you like to block on the left side for whatever reason, because you think it's more likely that they're going to have their observe ward out here instead of out here, then that's fine. But the problem is the spawn box extends out into the water about like this. Like this is the spawn box, so it goes out here, and then it actually dips down into the river off the cliff, and then comes back over. Those are terrible right angles, but you get the idea. So if you actually had taken this sentry ward and put it down in the water right here, that would still block this camp. And same thing if you put it here at the bottom of the stairs. These 2 spots are far superior to these 2 spots, and these are the ones everyone always goes to. I think the right one is less common and should be considered. I don't know if you always use the same one. You should be careful of that because if the other captain is scouting as much as I am, they may watch your replay videos and see you do that same word 3 times in the beginning and just decide you're always going to do that. And if he's right, then he's going to get a free D ward on you. So if you do decide to go with one of these 2 side spots on this box instead of putting it out in the lower area, which I think is a good idea, just make sure you put it up in the water here, just over the edge of the cliff. That'll be really useful for the rest of the season, especially if they don't catch up on that. The other thing is, so you've queued up the Observer Ward, you should already queue up another Sentry. So blocking this camp is excellent. That's going to give Lifesteer an advantage at the beginning. You should expect that the other support isn't retarded, and he's eventually going to find it, even if he has to waste a couple sentries for it. If he doesn't, that's great, you guys win the lane. You've wasted an extra 50 gold for a second sentry. But if he does find it, and he finds it quickly, not only is the whole purpose of this wasted, but now you don't have this camp blocked for the next who knows how many minutes, because you're going to be looking at other things, you're going to be fighting and whatever, and you may not get another ward out here for another 90 to 120 seconds, at which point they've pulled once or twice, and you've lost the lane. Because really, the way the lane goes is decided in the first 3 levels in like 3 minutes. So if you're winning at 2.5, 3 minutes, you're not going to, or it's extremely unlikely that you guys are going to somehow turn around, bait a kill, bait the mid in, get 3 kills and wipe them and totally save the lane at 6 minutes. If you were losing at 2, you're going to lose at 5. And so you really want to just invest the extra 50 gold, because worst case scenario, let's say the Rubik is oblivious, he doesn't deward, you just got an extra sentry, and that's fine because in the mid game you're going to be buying sentries anyway. You're not really slowing down a crucial item here by spending extra 50 gold. Okay, another thing is arcanes are not good here. So Disruptor, and I see that you're going to disassemble it into the Aether Lens, and Aether Lens, Disruptor likes the extra cast range. That's not a core item for you, and you really need to be going. Let me check what the stats are actually before I tell you this. But you really need to be going tranks and then a magic stick into a magic wand and then straight into your first support item, which is either a glimmer or a force staff. In this case, it's probably good to be a glimmer. Aether Lens is picked up 14% of the time on high-level Disruptor P5 games. Okay. So yeah, 25% of the time on P4 games. So Aether Lens is not in your quick, or should not be in your quick buy. Getting a pair of arcane boots slows your game down really badly. Your regen is hurt by it because you're a little short on regen, so you're not bringing as many tangos. Let's see how many Centaur has. He has twice as many as you. Rubik has twice as many as you. They both have a salve. What does Lifestealer have? Tangos and no salve. Okay, so you guys are 3 sets of regen down, which is, first off, lane losing. So I haven't even watched this lane yet. This is the first replay video analysis. I played my mid lane and I didn't really pay attention how you guys were doing. I thought you guys did okay in lane until you guys didn't flip the lanes like I told you to. But I'm just going to make a prediction here, and I'm going to say that because you're 3 sets of regen down, you've lost already, and I expect you guys to lose this lane, regardless of what else happens, because that's an extremely big deficit, and I don't think you and Lifesteal are going to be good enough to recognize the deficit in regen and buy more and ferry it out on the courier. I think you guys are just going to lane with whatever you brought, and that's going to be bad. So yeah, just drop this for now. Do it in your pubs, whatever. That's fine. In the LD2L games, the build on Disruptor is wand, magic stick into a magic wand if you want, or magic stick straight into tranks, and skip the arcades. You can get an Aether Lens later if you are really rich and for some reason don't need proper support items. But the arcane boots aren't going to work here. Lifestealer doesn't really need mana either. He's not trying to spam his stuff in lane. So even if you got it at an excellent time at like 6 minutes, that's just not helpful. Okay, so we're off to a terrible start at 24 seconds in. Let's see. Okay, walk up to the Centaur. Missing Rubik here, so you should harass the Centaur. Good, right click. Give him the Thunder though. You want to secure this range creep too. So you do want to be careful if he's in the way, because your Thunder Strike will hit some of the creeps, but in that case that wasn't an issue. But he managed to deny the range creep off of both of you. Oh, Rubik's back. Okay, you're out of position. Run. Cool, that looks good. So Rubik got a little damage on you, whatever, but you got the damage on Centaur, which is worth more, so that's really good. Yeah, stop right-clicking him. You're aggroing creeps. Oh, you can stay for that deny. So right there. Oh, I got my fucking friends showing. I can't turn off right now. Okay, fuck it. So right there, this creep here was deniable by you. You have the range to get this, and it's not that much of a threat to your health. So right here, you see this creep. You guys try to go for that deny, you both miss it, and then you both give up on this one. So it's interesting, you saw this creep was low, both you and Lifestealer tried to deny it, both of you missed it, and then you decided, well, we suck at denying, so we're just going to leave this one. I understand Lifestealer leaving, because Lifestealer can get nuked if he's not paying attention, like whatever Rubik's spell cooldown is, and for some reason he just thinks, if I stay, I'm just going to eat some more damage. Okay, that's fine, that's his carry thing to do. He's dragging these creeps back, he wants them to meet the equilibrium as far back as possible. You should be standing right about here, and you should be at least throwing the right click on that, because worst case scenario, you take, 2 hits of 21 damage onto your character with 22 armor, so you take 2 hits of 13 damage, so you take 26 damage for the chance to deny this creep. I would have gone for that. But you guys both kind of gave up on this one, decided we're not even going to try anymore. So that was kind of odd, especially considering you went for the one right before it. Okay, nuke the Rubik. Nuke the Rubik, there you go. Okay, right click, right click, right click. No, don't run. So a lot of times you see people, they'll right click and then they'll walk a step and they'll right click again, and that is ostensibly to not only move to a different position in between right clicks, but to try and help cancel the animation and get into a good habit. That's okay. The problem with what you did is you didn't walk to the side, and the thing is you have to keep it less than a 90-degree angle, because when you had your character here, you would right click the Rubik and then you turned around and you looked at the tower, and your character actually spun a 360, and then you right click the Rubik again, and then you turned around and you did a right click 360, and the problem is that actually takes more time, and you would have been better off if you had just sat there and just faced the Rubik and just stared him down as you right clicked him, because the extra turn time in Dota is eating up some of that some of that interval where you're trying to get your right click back in. And if you do a full swing around and you turn your back 180 and then turn back in, you're actually losing more time. So be careful how much or where you're clicking, because if you click just a little bit behind you, then your character does that stupid ass spin. Whereas if you click a little to the side or a little forward and to the right, then you can keep facing the Rubik while you try and continue to trade with the Rubik, who you should be able to trade with unless he wants to waste another Fade Bolt into you solo, which would be a great trade for you. You want to bait his Fade Bolts into you so that he's not Fade Bolting your Lifestealer, as the Lifestealer is trying to use all of his attack damage to attack and CS. So, little thing there. Okay, sorry, one more thing. I know, I'm fucking nitpicking a lot of shit. So when you use your tangos, that's fine. Most of the times you can just kind of eat whatever fucking tree you want. In this case, you've used a couple tangos, you haven't ate a path through these trees yet. So you've got sort of this block of fucking forest here, and this block is sort of like, it's like a block here, and then there's a pathway. And then there's like a little L-shaped fucking pathway here, and then there's like another block here that's impassable. So I should actually close this off so that's a clear block. And then there's another like Z-shaped pathway there. Actually, this is a T-shape because you can go out this way. And then there's like a clump here. What you want to do is you want to eat your way through this clump right here. This is kind of the biggest part. So the trick is you either eat this tree right here, which is an orange, or you eat this really dark, short, stumpy tree next to it. And what that does is that either gives you a path straight through here, or it connects this path over here so that this one actually goes straight through. But either way, you have like this sort of dead zone, where right now, if for some reason later in the game, like 2 minutes from now, Centaur and Rubik decide they're going to jump you, and if they get you right by this fountain, you're in a really bad spot, because right here at this fountain, you have to commit to either, well shit, I have to run into them to then run down to then get around to my tower, or I have to try and run away from them to get into this path to then go around, and the tower range is like right here. And the thing about the tower range is, this is getting really fucking messy, but basically the magic about the tower range is you get that extra health regen, that extra armor. So if you get within this ring, you're fucking a little bit safer, and the best way to do that is to kill this tree. And since you don't have a Quelling Blade, and really Lifestealer should have done this with his Quelling Blade, he should do this all the time in lane if nothing's going on. Before you get to the lane, Lifestealer should do it with his Quelling Blade. But if he doesn't, use your Tango. Be a little pickier with which tree you eat. Don't just eat some random ass tree. Keep the trees in lane that you want, where you can use them to hide and harass people, and eat the trees that you need to use it as an escape route, so that you have this extra option where if you for some reason do get dove, you got another chance to get to the tower an extra second faster. Okay, enough of that. Back to the replay. Alright, so you got an observer reward coming on, which I guess is good since Rubik is using the trees better than you, so you want to see where the Rubik's coming from. Okay, so this is part of the problem that I was talking about. And the observer ward will help fix that. If you put the observer ward here, that's great. Right now you have no vision over this area right here, so you have to play scared, and you're actually hiding in the lane behind Lifestealer, behind the creep wave in front of the tower. This is a terrible spot to be. You as a support should not live in this area in the lane. You want to be off on the side so that you can see the Rubik, you can pull him away for trades, you can see, you can hide in the trees over here, and maybe you can nuke the Centaur and then use your spells if for some reason Lifestealer decides he wants to dive, which of course he doesn't, because you guys are losing the XP war pretty fucking badly. Holy shit, Lifestealer's got 59, so you are splitting all of Lifestealer's XP, and you're both at 59. Centaur's at 184, and Rubik's at 84. So this is mostly because you guys aren't denying, and Centaur is, and he's just outlasting you. But this is fucking terrible. But really, you guys need to be on the side. Or when I say you guys, you just as the support. You don't want to leech all the XP. So if for some reason you see the Rubik is way up here, like let's say Rubik is up here looking for your Sentry Ward, which he is, and he's dewarding it. That's good. While that's happening, Lifestealer probably isn't going to trade with the Centaur, so you want to walk to like this area. You want to be outside of XP range. So creep XP range is something like, I'm going to guess, it's something like this. So like when these creeps die, it's like, this creep died. Everyone within this zone gets XP, and I don't know what the fucking units measurement is, but whatever. If you see that Rubik is way up here, outside of Centaur's XP range, Centaur has no kill threat potential on the Lifestealer, Lifestealer isn't going to dive on the Centaur, you should also leave XP range, and so you should be over here, and then you have two choices. You either go over and you fuck with Rubik, and you interrupt whatever it is he's trying to do, dewarding or pulling or sacking, or you go over here to your own camp and you do the thing that you want to do, which is warding, dewarding, pulling, stacking. But whatever those things are, they're outside of this range so that you don't continue to sort of short Lifestealer his chances to get leveled. Like right now, the Lifestealer is half as good as the Centaur. Centaur has 2 spells, Lifestealer has 1, and you guys are at a huge disadvantage. And so if a fight breaks out now, you know, he and Rubik have twice as many spells to throw as you and Lifestealer, so you're just going to lose. And if they were good, they would realize that and try and pull this side lane out here, get the creep equilibrium up here, and then dive you while they have an extra spell, because then they're going to win that fight. And you always want to try and get aggressive on your lane opponents if you have 2 fucking extra spells on them early on in the game. So yeah, try and play. Long story short, try and play on the sides either way, and then be ready to duck in and out of XP range when you need to so that you maximize what Lifestealer's getting out of it. The Observer Ward will help if you put that up here, but the problem is fucking Rubik is dewarding your ward up here, and so when you put your Observer Ward down, you're just going to fucking lose it because you didn't bring a sentry. So if this doesn't have a sentry with it, then you're giving that Observer Ward away. Because Rubik probably also has an Observer somewhere in this area, and he's probably going to see the Observer come in on the courier or on you, and then he's going to see where you plant it. So yeah, you guys are losing on regen pretty badly, so you guys cut out a little bit of that tree, that's good. You got no tangos left, you got a salve. Lifestealer has no salve and 4 tangos, okay. He's got, did he take, hang on a second, I know this isn't your fucking replay, but, oh man, he took passive slow first. Okay, we'll talk about that on his replay. Alright, back to you. What are you doing? So right here, okay, so this is a good point. Right here, Lifestealer is hitting under tower. You don't need to hit these. I don't know why you're right-clicking these creeps. Lifestealer has pretty decent attack damage. He's got his Quelling Blade. He's at 50, plus whatever that is. That's another 62. So he's probably going to be okay trying to last hit these creeps. And if you throw your right clicks in, you might actually kind of fucking confuse them. And it may actually throw off the clicks. And you're just soaking half this XP. So right now, you should not be here. You should be over here getting ready to stack this camp because it's at 151. So your stack timer is coming up. You need to stack this small camp right here so that you can then pull the wave and that whole wave gets denied. Because ideally you don't want to always single pull the small camp. So if this camp is doubled, that's important. You should not be hitting these creeps at all. There's no reason for you to contribute. If you accidentally take a last hit, that's unfortunate unless Lifestealer is going to miss it. But chances are Lifestealer can sit here under the tower and figure out what he's doing and last hit it just fine. Alright, so you're way too late for the stack, so I don't know what you're doing. Okay, so you came up on the camp when it was too late. So the stack timer for that is about 55, 56, because the small camp here has a pretty long leash range. So you can actually walk these fucking harpies like all the way into the lane and then walk them back halfway to the tier 2 tower. It's ridiculous. Like they go a long fucking way. Some camps only stack like this far and some camps stack like way fucking out here. This one's one of the long leash ones. You can walk this lane a good ways. You came up to the camp, you right clicked a harpy, way too late to stack it. So when you're going to stack, look at the timer, and if you're too late, don't even try, because what you're going to do is you're going to aggro this harpy. Now the harpies are fucking mad, and they're all going to come out here and smack you. And so now you've got, 3 harpies who are all doing 32, 33 damage. So you're taking 100 damage per hit from the neutrals, and now Rubik and fucking Centaur are mad at you because for some reason you decided to stack to the right, which you never do. When you're stacking this camp, it's either down, it's left, or it's up. So right is actually the only of the 4 cardinal directions that you can't go on this camp. So like this is the box here, whatever. This way is a no. This is okay if you have to. This is okay if you have to. And this is the standard one because you just get used to that timing so that you can stack and pull the creeps into your creep wave. But right this way doesn't work at all, because you're running into the enemy laners, and the leash distance is actually shorter this way. And so when you run them out this way, they're actually going to turn around and go back. So like they leash like right here, whereas if you run these harpies down, they leash like way the fuck down here in the lane. So it's actually a little bit shorter, and they run back to their fucking camp earlier if you go to the right. And now it looks like you're going to get punched for free by Rubik and maybe Centaur if he shows up. So this is bad. Yep, 100 damage every hit, 3 harpies for nothing. Now it's going to be harder to single pull this camp. So you do want to single pull this camp now. So at this moment, and this is just kind of a macro, I'm going to make a prediction. I'm going to say you're not going to do this, but your wave is under the tower. Lifestealer is last seen under the tower. The tower is fucking that up because it contributes to the push. It kills these creeps faster than Lifestealer's trying to balance. So this is going to push out the next wave. So this wave is going to end up, god damn it, get off my fucking screen. This wave is going to end up somewhere out here next time because these creeps are going to die too quickly, so it's going to be 1 creep against 4 fucking creeps, and then they're going to kill that creep real quick, they're going to run up to here, and this next wave is going to really fucking suck. So what you want to do is at this moment, you want to get ready to go back to this camp, and at 16 or 17 seconds, that's the stack timing for this, or the pull timing, I'm sorry, for this small camp. At 16 seconds, you want to aggro one of those harpies again and walk it back down here and kind of stand here, eat one of the harpy bolts, and then the creeps will run up. And the reason for that is you're going to deny most of those creeps on the harpies. Harpies are actually pretty decent creeps. They're probably going to get 1.5, and then you're going to run over here to this hard camp and then pull this one back down. Or worst case scenario, even if for some reason that doesn't work, the next wave walking up to this point will be 1.5 creeps weaker, which means that's going to bring that creep wave back down here somewhere. So that's what you should do right now in the next 7 seconds. Let's see. Oh, we're going back to the lane. Okay, so you walking back in, you entered the XP bubble. So again, this is the XP bubble around the creeps, and you're now probably too close. So I think you're soaking XP. Let's see, you're at 199, lifesteal's at 225. So for a little bit there, you were out of his bubble, but now you're soaking it back up again. So you got to be careful and you got to not do that. So Lifestealer is ahead of the Centaur, but that's just because he's a wave ahead. So this wave hasn't died for Centaur yet. So when this wave dies up here out of tower range, Centaur's going to leapfrog ahead. But for right now, you guys are doing okay. But you need to give more of this to Lifestealer and try not to sap as much as you can. You're going to get your XP from pulling the lane creeps into the small camp and then killing off all of the neutral camp creeps. So you last hitting those gives you a little bit of gold and a little bit of experience, which will get you to your level 3, level 4, which is basically all you should expect to leave the laning stage at. If you exit the laning stage as the same level as your carry, then you fucked up really badly, and you really hurt his chances. So like here you see the Rubik is out of range, and the Centaur is 180 to 100. So it's a huge difference in favor of the Centaur, and Centaur is going to get his XP, whereas Rubik is going to try to find his somewhere else. Alright, enough of that. Alright, so you're hanging out, you just missed the timing for the pull. The lane is pushing way up. Rubik is, yeah, see, that's what I was talking about. Rubik has unfucked this camp here, and now he's using it appropriately to make the lane even worse for you guys. So you need to have that second sentry going out early. So new rule, 1 sentry at the beginning to block the hard camp is good, and then one of your first purchases, doesn't have to be the very first thing, but in the first 30 seconds to a minute, you need to have your second sentry coming out on the courier so that you can re-block this camp for a second time if it turns out that we're not playing a pub and the guys are idiot bots, because they won't be. They're going to deward their camp. Alright, so Lifesteal is way out of position for some reason. I don't know why. He blocked the camp. Okay, never mind. Yeah, no, I'm wrong. So Lifestealer going forward, and that was a little bit of an aggro play. I forgot what just happened a second ago. The Rubik was pulling this that way, and so the Lifestealer ran into the wave to re-aggro it and bring it back to the wave. So that's actually correct. For a second, I totally forgot what the fuck I was looking at, and I was like, why the hell's Lifestealer up there? You can also do that too. So when Rubik is pulling the camp out to the side, you have 2 options. You have 2 things you can do to save it. It's not really 2 options. One happens after the other. So we'll go up here a sec. This camp is right here. We'll just use my little dry thing. So there's a little camp here. Rubik hits this guy, and he starts walking out this way. As he's walking mid-path, you can hit him as well, or any of the other camps in the stack, and that will make him change his mind and re-aggro back to you. That's option 1. Option 2 is if you're too late, and Rubik comes up, he hits this creep, and then this creep starts walking, and the creep starts walking out, and it meets the creep wave here from this way, and these guys meet. What will happen is these creeps will start attacking, and then this guy will change his mind, and he'll go back to his camp, and he'll start walking away. When they start walking away, you stand in this spot on the X, and then you let the enemy creeps aggro to you, because the other creeps will walk away, they're going to go back home because they're tired of fighting, the creeps will aggro back to you, and then you walk them down here, and so they end up going this way and this way instead of going this way and this way. So it's not really 2 choices, because one, it happens after the creeps meet, and one is if you can catch the wave before they meet. Extremely, extremely important mechanic as a P5. Or is it any support, 4 or 5. Alright, so now you're standing in the bad spot again. So again, remember, in the wave, there's sort of like a battlefield area, and I'll just draw it. So like, let's say this is where the fight's going on. This zone here, well, okay, that's a little too big. This is the line of battle. This zone here is off limits to you. So this is the carry. This is number 1. P1 plays in this area. He's going to be right-clicking these guys, and he's going to be denying these guys, and that's his job. Your zones are out here. So we're going to put this area as your zone. That's number 5. or if for some reason you needed to use the trees, that's number 5. So your zones are on the side. This is not your area in the middle. You should not be here, because what happens is, what's happening right now is you guys don't have good vision. You don't understand what's happening right now with the Rubik. So you got darkness here, darkness all over here, and you only have light going up this this pathway in the middle along the sidewalk. And that's great, but you have that vision whether you're there or not, because the creeps are there, and somehow fucking psycho-telepathic kinetically, you know, the creeps are telling you what they see somehow. I don't understand how that is supposed to work in the game, but you know, basically, you're not providing your care with any extra benefit. Whereas if you were standing right here on this flower patch, and you're, whoops, let's fucked up the damn whatchamacallits. But basically, if you were standing right here on this little patch of flowers, or maybe even further back, maybe you're too scared of the Rubik, whatever, you stand back here somewhere. That's fine too. But either of these two places means you have vision going out this way, or you have vision going out this way, and you can see where the Rubik is. And when Lifestealer can see where the Rubik is, then he's much more confident. He can play a little bit more aggressive in the lane. He can right-click the Centaur a little bit more, or he can go for less hits and denies that if he didn't know where the support was, he'd be too scared to. But you standing right next to him like this is like you're holding hands and you're like fucking battle buddies or something. This doesn't help him. You're not giving off an aura. You don't have Ring of Basilius. You don't have Headdress. You don't have Witch Doctor Heal. You know, there's no benefit that he gets from you standing next to him. Let's see. He's eating his own tango, but he doesn't have any other buffs. So this is kind of a waste. And again, you're just leeching that XP, whereas if you're out here, maybe you give him back some of his XP. And I know I'm kind of harping the same things over and over, but this is really hurting your guys' lane. And this lane is going really poorly for you guys. I'll tell you that. So Lifestealer should have a great time against Centaur. That's not a counter. Centaur doesn't screw up Lifestealer's lane. Okay, so this is interesting. Okay, so that was too late for a pull and too early for a stack. So we're going to go over here. We're going to take a look. Yeah, so this guy, you heard the sound, the stacking sound. That wasn't your camp. Let me make sure. That is fog both teams. What? Maybe I have to play. What the hell? How do I get rid of the fucking fog? Yeah, okay, so this camp is not fucking stacked, so you missed that. So we'll rewind a little bit, and again, we'll talk about the timings. So you gotta be up on the timings though. So these are really important. Okay, so right here, you're going over the camp. That's cool. 47. You're a little late. You could save it if you went now. Okay, so you aggro that camp at about 250. That's too late. At that point, you've already screwed it up. So the stack timer for this camp is the pull timer, because you're trying to pull first. The pull timer is 47. That's every time, 47 seconds. There's a little bit of variance, so if you go 47, you go straight down. If you aggro it a little early, you can kind of veer off a little bit this way. You can kind of aggro the creeps kind of right about here. Really, straight down vertically is the best option, because it gives you this bracket of wiggle room. And then if for some reason you're late, you can aggro the creeps back through this path. And if this tree is dead, which it's not, but if it was, you can actually aggro the creeps here just outside of the tower range. So you got 47, this is probably like a 46, and this is probably like a 49, maybe 50. So actually, if you had hit this creep like a second earlier and this tree was dead, you could have gone here. But going for this one, this is the 47, nice and easy, vertical down to the lane pull, and you've missed it by 3 seconds, so you're way off. So what you should do when that happens is you should not even try. So the fact that you're aggroing this camp is a problem. And what you need to do is you need to run back into the camp, and you actually need to tank them for a couple seconds. And this sounds kind of silly, but what's going to happen now is you're going to run out. You actually saw it on the video because I played it through. You're going to run out, you're going to do your loop. These creeps are going to come back, and then they're going to lose interest, and they're going to go back to their camp here. The problem is when they go back to their camp, they're going to get there at like 57 or 58 or something, and by that point, it's too late for you to try and aggro them again to stack them, because the stack timer is something like 56. More like 55 to 56 because of how long the leash range is. So if you go out and then like this way, it's like 55 seconds. Yeah. And that's like a full duration. That's just because this camp is really long. Normally the stack timer, as you probably know, is around 56, 57. But either way, the problem is you've now aggroed these creeps, and so now they're going to run down, and they're going to run out, and then they're going to come back too late. What you can do is you can turn around right now, and you can run right into them, and you can just fucking stare them down and face tank them. Right-click them a little bit if you want, whatever, it doesn't matter. But basically, you have to let them continue to right-click you until this 51 turns into that fucking 56. And then when it turns into that 56, then you're standing here. The creeps may or may not be attacking you still. I don't know. It doesn't matter. You attack them one more time at 56, and you can re-aggro them because it has a certain timer where after you haven't hit them for a while, they lose interest and they go home. But if you re-aggro them again while you're standing within their spawn box, then you can get the proper pull stack timer and get 56 seconds, and then you'll have 2 sets of neutrals. But because you tried to split the difference, you tried to go for a pull, you missed it, and then you continued to try and turn it into a stack, and then you missed that too. So you've got to choose one, or if you don't, you need to face tank this creep wave so that you can actually just settle for the stack and not the pull. Alrighty, enough of that. So yeah, this is a missed stack, and again, if you had cut a little bit more to the right, you may have actually got the Harpy Bolt to hit you in the ass, and then you may have pulled like the range creep or something. Either way, you don't get anything, and so that's interesting. You actually right-clicked it again because you probably had the idea that, oh, well, I missed the fucking pull, so I'll just stack. And so that's okay, but if you had done that while standing in the box instead of walking all around, then you would have had the timing right, but because you walked that long loop, you missed it. Alright, so you really need a sentry badly, so now you've just sort of given up on trying to... Okay, you decided to throw your Thunderstrike on the Hellbear. It's not within range where it's going to die, so it has a lot of health. It's not about to die, no one's in the camp hitting it, so I'm going to say this is a mistake. You should have nuked the Rubik right there. You soaked up a lot of XP so you could get your level 3. You got a really nice Thunderstrike nuke damage. You really need to be nuking Rubik constantly with that. Every time this Thunderstrike's off cooldown, if you don't have the mana for it, you need to be eating your mango and then nuking him again. Nuking this Hellbear fucking creep is a waste of that spell. So you just ruined another 15 seconds and 140 mana and a missed, 280 damage for no reason, because whether or not this creep dies, okay, whatever. The extra little bit you get in gold isn't going to help that the Rubik is here with full life and he's going to contest the Lifestealer for these hits, whereas if you nuke the Rubik with that, the Lifestealer can then switch his aggro to the Rubik and hit him 2 or 3 times while he's being slowed by a Thunderstrike, and then Rubik has to leave completely. And now Rubik has low health, you've nuked him out of the lane, and Lifestealer still gets to free farm this camp all by himself, or you can pull it, because this camp is actually pullable by you, so I don't know if you know this, but this hard camp, if for some reason it's not blocked, and your lane is way up here like it is, the trick is you aggro this creep and you walk it right through this set of trees here. It's kind of hard to see because I'm fucking not in the right position with my camera, but this set of trees right here, okay, so I actually do that way too low. Let's, what the fuck's my draw, I think. There we go. So, this box right here, aggro this creep wave, walk it down, you walk it in between these 2 groves, and you stand right here at the top of the flower patch, right next to the sidewalk. And then what happens is, if you aggro this at the magical time of 55 seconds, you will not only pull this camp, but you will also stack it. And sometimes you may not want to do that, but either way, your creeps are going to be coming up from the lane, they're going to hit it right here. If you don't want to stack it, you can either do it a little bit later, so you can pull straight out, and this timing is about 59. And then you can go right through the trees here in the middle for like a 57 to, about 57. But either way, anywhere along this area right here, you can pull this hard camp into. They don't have to be the only ones that can pull the creep wave out. And then if any of your lane creeps die to this camp that already exists, the fact that the camp exists is unfortunate, but you might as well use that to your advantage now that you haven't blocked this camp and use it to deny some of your own creeps. So that's also a good trick, especially when your wave is pushed way up into the enemy tower like this, and Lifestealer can't go this close to the enemy tower to try and contest. Alright. Alright, so yeah, if that Thunderstrike was on Rubik, Rubik would be having a bad time. Instead, Rubik gets to fight and nuke the Lifestealer. Lifestealer gets nothing out of it. Okay, so you need to be going back for a pull right now. So you coming up here, right there, so Lifestealer was staying in the area, he's trying to get XP, Lifestealer kind of walked up thinking, oh, maybe I'll get a last hit or a deny. That's okay, that's okay for him. This is absolutely wrong for you. You should not be here anymore. This is over for you. You should be back at this other camp getting ready to pull out the next wave, And you should be staying again out of this XP bubble, because whenever these creeps die, Lifestealer's trying to pick up that XP, and you're just soaking up every little bit of it, and it's really hurting them. So out of this area right here, if Lifestealer's kind of dancing around, maybe you think he's going to get gone on, okay, you run up and save him. But the Lifestealer realizes he's too far, he runs back, you need to be back with him. You don't want to stay in front of your Lifestealer like this. You want to be behind him to lend your range support, and then nuke and drop your spells if for some reason he gets into a fight. But otherwise, he's the front liner of this lane, and you're not like an ogre or something where you want to be out here this far. Yeah, so you aggroing these camps. Alright, this is a mistake. The creeps are now aggroing to you. Okay, so you traded a couple clicks with the Rubik, and again, you're doing those trades without your spell. So you should be trading while you have Thunderstrike on him, and you should be not trading and avoiding Rubik when you don't have Thunderstrike. You've got your fucking mangoes, so you should probably eat one of them and nuke the Rubik. But now that you've drawn these creeps out to the side, this is a huge mistake, because the creeps should have ended right here, and they should have met equally, and then Lifestealer would be in an okay place to start last hitting to 9. Now it looks like the creeps are going to fucking run past, they're going to go into the tower, and now you got to drag these creeps back to your tower, and then Lifestealer has to hit them under the tower, which is harder, because the tower fucks up his timing, and it's harder for him to see when he can get the last hit correctly, and Lifestealer, again, should be doing well against Centaur in lane. Lifestealer does better when he right-clicks a Centaur for 3% of his fucking total max health every time, and he should be soaking all the fucking lifesteal off Centaur that he needs so that he can stay in lane because he has no fucking regen. So Lifestealer wants to be in a lane one-on-one with Centaur. Centaur does not want to stand in the lane with the Lifestealer because he doesn't do enough. Alright, that's enough of that. Okay, so it looks like you're going to try to bring it around. You get the range creep, which is actually a nice deny right there. So if you guys hit that, okay, good deny on the range creep. He's going to secure the, okay, he did secure his own range creep. So that's good. You guys got a deny on the range creep. But now what's his name is under the tower. I don't know what you're doing here. You're stacking their hard camp for them. That is not good. So you don't want more things to be in this camp here. So the way you got this set up right now is you're using this camp here, and your attempt to stack that one is correct. And that's perfectly fine, I don't mind that. The issue is the Rubik is using this camp, and you need to not try and make that any stronger than it already is, because when you do that, you're just giving them more creeps and units and entities to basically pull their neutral lane into, or their lane creeps into, and then they're going to use that to deny, and they're going to get ahead of you in experience. So you need to be pulling these guys. You need to be stacking this camp and using this one, and you need to be trying to block this one. Now, if you aggro this in order to just pull it away and keep it on the other side of the map here, so like aggroing these creeps out in order to make sure that Rubik doesn't pull them to the right, that's okay. But there are no creeps coming this way. It's 4:04, so at the 4-second mark or whatever, there's no way that Rubik can aggro this into the lane to pull it back. So this is just sort of overall a waste of your time. And if you do end up stacking it, though, it's actually a mistake, and it's worse than a waste. Okay, did you block the camp with that? Looks like you kind of did. Okay, so that's good. You did block it, but unfortunately there's an awful lot of creeps in it, so you have to kill those. Okay, right there is your chance. So remember, the timer is 17 for a pull into the lane. So right there, you aggro with the Rubik a little bit. Rubik ran away like he was going to go somewhere else. If Rubik runs away here, you aggro this creep and you pull it down. Looks like Rubik's smart enough to stay in the area, but you should be staying within attack range of this camp so that you can pull it to your lane if you need to. Alrighty. Why is your camera so far low? Okay. Alright, so again, this is not your area. So battlefield is here, this is not your zone. If you want to walk back towards the creep wave for some reason, you need to do it on the top side of the trees, not the bottom side, because now Lifestealer doesn't have the vision he needs to play safely, and you're just soaking XP. You want to be, like vertically, you just need to be walking to the right like this, but up here along this side of the trees. Hope you get some use out of those 2 fairy fires, otherwise this is 180 gold wasted. Again, you keep nuking the creeps and not the centaurs. So this Thunderstrike has an AoE effect, and it Thunderstrikes everything that's in this immediate vicinity. So whether or not you Thunderstrike the creep or the centaur doesn't matter for the creeps. But the thing is, now you've got Thunderstrikes left. I still see this little fucking sprite here, and so, I don't know how many of those were. That's like 3 out of 4 strikes. That means you still got 1 strike left. one strike is now going to hit here in the middle of an empty camp doing nothing, whereas if you would actually put the strike on the centaur, the last strike would smack him and you get an extra 70 damage. So try and put the strikes on the heroes, not the creeps. Alright, you got a mango. Do you use it to catch? Nope. Okay. Right, here's a good time. You can pull this creep down 55. Okay, you're trading without Thunderstrike. This is bad. Every trade you do is bad without Thunderstrike. Hanging out, not doing much. Leeching XP. Okay, you got some more mana coming in. Looks like you picked up a Sage's Mass. I don't know if you're going for Basilius. Again, you're trading without your spell. And that's a losing imposition for you. Okay, again, and that one probably just looked like a misclick. You ate the mango, correct. You cast the spell, correct. You put it on the range creep. Totally wasted. And so it's a huge mistake there. And you're basically throwing away all 280 damage. Because I don't, based on where it looks like the centaur is, like I think the range is a little bit smaller. So I think you actually got 0 out of the 280 damage you're supposed to get. Yeah, 70 by 4, 140, 280 damage you could have hit the centaur for out of his 400. Magic resistance brings that down to a quarter, so 210. This guy would have been at 190 health. It's really unfortunate that you hit the wrong thing. Okay, right here, tank these creeps outside the range. Okay, so that's a mistake. So, and I saw Lifestealer try to correct it, and he wasn't able to. So, in this tower right here, the tower range goes out to like about this. That's a terrible fucking arc, but you basically get the idea. That's the tower range. Ideal position for the creep wave is this line right here. If you walk these creeps down into the tower range, the tower is going to shoot at them and it's going to ruin the equilibrium because it's going to push the wave even further up. So what you want to do is on the map, if for some reason you see that the creeps are coming, which you did, so let's go back here a few seconds. All right, you missed the Thunderstrike, whatever. Now, right here, you got a creep wave behind you. Both you are running away. You're dragging the creep so that it's in better position. Good. You look at the minimap, you see that your creeps are here. You need to run back to your tower and stop right outside of range. So let's see, you're running back. Here you go. You see this red line? This is the arc right here. You need to stop right outside this arc, maybe even a good bit outside this arc. Right where Lifestealer's at is actually perfect. So Lifestealer sees the line, and he actually stops in front of it, because this line is like, it's right at these fucking pink flowers. So you see those flowers in this kind of darker green patch. That's the spot. Lifestealer realizes that he turns around. The problem is you keep running past. And normally, again, I was talking about positioning, you do want to be behind him, so that's good. But because you're aggroing the creeps right now, you're killing his range creep, and you're pulling the melee creeps back, if you pass this line, the creeps are going to follow you, because they're aggroed to you right now, and they haven't switched yet. And so they're actually going to cross this, and the tower's going to hit one. So running. Lifestealer turns around. He's trying to either last hit that creep or keep these guys out, and you run too far. So at this moment, you're dragging this creep in, and the tower's going to shoot. Yeah. So this tower shooting ruined the equilibrium, because if you had stopped earlier, this creep would take less damage. And right now it's not that big of a deal because Lifestealer was able to aggro the creep back, and so it's only going to be 1, maybe 2 tower hits go on this one, but ideally you want none, because you want to maintain the creeps here, and the way you do that is you don't let the tower hit them for free. Alright, that's enough of that. Okay, so 2 hits. And so again, that kills this creep too early. This creep is going to die, the whole lane is going to push. You're not here to pull. Alright, so 37. Need you to pull at 47. Let's see. 3, Rubik's there. You don't have a mango anymore. You can't trade. Again, remember what we just talked about. You don't have your mango, you don't have your spell. If you can't trade, or if you don't have the spell, you're losing in the trade bout, because you're doing 56 minus 8. Rubik is doing 58 plus 4, so he's beating you on the trade war. So if you don't have your buff up spell, which in this case buffs him because it buffs you because it's doing more damage, and it slows him so you can right click better, he does have his buff up spell, so he's ruined your damage by taking away 18%, and now you're going to die here. Or maybe you don't die, but you run away, pop stick. Okay, Fairy Fire, there you go. I don't think he was going to kill you, actually. You probably could have just used the salve, since he didn't have vision in nighttime. So I'm going to say that Fairy Fire didn't save you, because he already used his Fade Bolt. He didn't have the range. Drop your nuke. Okay, that, I don't know what that that kinetic field was for. So you wasted your kinetic field, you missed both of them, and more importantly, you used all your mana, so now you don't have a Thunderstrike to follow up with. Maybe you realize that and you pop the mango, but you needed to open with the Thunderstrike so that the Lifestealer could get out. And I remember this point in voice because I was actually telling you guys Storm Spirit went bottom, and I called it as soon as he left the lane to start running away early, because it was suspicious and obvious, and you guys didn't leave. And now I see why that didn't work out for you guys. Lifestealer shouldn't have been going for the kill. He has no kill threat on the Centaur. So that's a mistake on his part, but we'll talk about that in his video. But you made a really big mistake by throwing this kinetic field out here. Maybe you saw the Storm Spirit, you thought, oh, I'll protect him, but if that's the case, this is way too early. You're not going to catch the Storm Spirit in the kinetic field, and it's a fucking Storm Spirit at 6 minutes. You figure, even if you haven't looked at him yet, you probably figure he has his fucking ultimate, which he does, so he's just going to zip out. So that kinetic field was really bad, and that ruined your chance here to throw a Thunderstrike. Let's see if you get one later. Okay, no, you still got your mango. Okay, you throw the Thunderstrike after he's dead, and are you gonna die? Yep, you're gonna get body blocked. That's embarrassing. Okay. Yeah, so open with Thunderstrike, not kinetic field, especially if you don't have any control over where the heroes are moving. Now the way that combos is the kinetic, or the Thunderstrike slows them by keeping them in place for a split second, so it's actually harder for them to run out of range of the kinetic field because of the 0% movement or whatever it is. Is it like no movement for a tenth of a second? Yeah. 0% movement for a tenth of a second. Okay, I remember this too. So you TP'd mid. I wasn't even getting dove mid, so I don't know why. I didn't call for it. You don't have glimpse, so it's not like Storm TP'd in, you can glimpse him back to the fountain. You know, that's a cute play, but that's not what's happening here. So I actually have no idea why you TP'd mid. This doesn't seem to be good at all. I'm stacking my camp. I'm not even in the lane. I'm stacking my own small camp, and you're here for some reason. Okay. Yeah, there's no kill potential on the Storm Spirit. You don't have your 6, so that's bad. So now you have to walk back. Okay, you see the Centaur. Alright, go nuke him. Go nuke him and contest those last hits. What are you doing? Okay. Okay, so that was really bad. So let's go over that. So what happens is you see the Centaur and he's running up. Centaur is going to jungle this hard camp right here. Okay, fine, whatever. You're running up, you have your spell. At this point, you should immediately start harassing the Centaur, because the thing is, he's going to try and nuke these as fast as he can and run back to the lane. So he's going to use his spells like he is, and he's low on health. You throwing your Thunderstrike not only damages him, but again, because of the AoE, it damages everything around it. So you might actually steal one of the last hits, or maybe all the last hits on these creeps if you throw your spell, because as he gets hit, if he stays in the camp, you're going to do damage to these creeps as well, and you might actually be the instance of damage that kills him. Because if you don't do anything, he's going to kill them anyway. Like, it's not like the creeps aren't going to die if you don't help kill them. They're dying either way. So you want to help kill them, and you also want to be the person that kills them. And for some reason, you decide to throw your Thunderstrike after he completely finishes the wave, which makes no sense. So, like, you're dancing here for some reason. I don't know if you're scared or whatever, but if you're scared, you shouldn't go in later. But you're dancing around just inside XP range, so you're getting the XP good. Right there, Thunderstrike here, and then you could have stolen some of it, but you Thunderstrike late, and now you're chasing late. So while the Centaur was in this camp trying to fuck with those creeps, you could have just walked straight up. Instead of walking a little silly loop around the bushes twice, you could have walked right up to him, stood right here, and then harassed him. You could have gotten like 5 more right clicks on this guy, and then he would actually be really dangerously low. And he might have even left the creep camp so early that these creeps would have been partial health, and then you could have cleaned them up and farmed them all by yourself. So that was really weird, and not efficient at all. Alright, you got your spell, nuke him. Okay, so right there, okay, you're coming back to heal your guy, that's fine. But you need to use this Thunderstrike, again, off cooldown. You're buying all these mana items. I don't know why you have a Sage's Mask. If you complete it into a Basilius, that makes sense, but if you just have a casual item, that's bad. Didn't you just sab this guy? What the hell? Okay, so now Centaur is killing your Lifestealer, because, yeah, that's really bad. We'll talk about that on his replay, though. It's not your fault. You gave him a salve, so he should have been healed up another 400 health. So I don't know why you would have lost it all immediately and then gone back into the lane. Alrighty, so let's see what else happens. Anything? Yeah. The Rubik ganked mid. That's bad. So Rubik left and went to mid earlier than you did, and they got the kill there. So I'm going to say laning stage is over here, and we'll move on to the next perspective and continue with the mid game on everybody.